What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Gordon Ryan recently shared his thoughts on how Khabib and Khamzat would fare in elite submission grappling competition, and his take sparked plenty of debate. According to Ryan, if those two were placed into the ADCC Submission Fighting World Championship, they would struggle and likely get beaten without much trouble. He explained that while their styles are dominant in MMA, they are not built to dominate pure grappling at the highest specialist level. Ryan pointed out that Khabib and Khamzat are not the best freestyle wrestlers in the world, nor are they the best pure jiu-jitsu practitioners when compared to full-time submission grapplers. In his view, ADCC rewards a very specific skill set, and specialists who train exclusively for that rule set would have a clear advantage over MMA fighters crossing over. However, Ryan was careful to clarify that this criticism is not a knock on their overall abilities. He emphasized that Khabib and Khamzat are not trying to be the best grapplers in isolation. Their goal has always been to be the best MMA fighters, and for that purpose, their style is extremely effective. He explained that their grappling is designed around control, pressure, and damage, rather than point scoring or submission hunting alone. Ryan highlighted their ability to take opponents down, follow them through scrambles, and force them to carry body weight. He noted how they keep opponents pinned to the mat, drag them back down when they try to stand, and punish them during transitions. That constant pressure, combined with strikes from the top, is what makes their approach so dangerous inside the cage. He added that being able to hold someone down, wear them out, and then either land significant ground and pound or finish with a submission is the most important form of jiu-jitsu in MMA. In Ryan's opinion, this submission wrestling style, where control leads directly to damage, is far more valuable for fighting than excelling in a pure grappling tournament. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to help support the channel. Moving on to another news, Islam Makhachev has once again spoken about his move up to welterweight, and his comments continue to suggest that his time at lightweight is officially over. When Islam first announced he was moving to 170 to chase the welterweight title, he left the door slightly open for a return to 155. However, with each new interview, that door appears to be closing fast. During his training camp for his fight with JDM last November, Islam repeatedly said he was enjoying every part of life at welterweight. The extra weight, the recovery, and the overall training process felt smoother than anything he experienced at lightweight. Not long after his championship win at UFC 322, Islam made it clear that he had no real desire to put his body through another brutal cut down to 155. In a recent interview, Islam explained that everything feels right for him at welterweight. Wow, he said he now enjoys training camp, cutting weight, and even fight week, something that used to be a major struggle earlier in his career. For him, fighting at 170 is no longer a problem, and he feels ready to accept any challenge that comes his way. He added that if the opportunity to fight on the White House card becomes real, he would absolutely want to be part of it, calling it a once-in-a-lifetime moment and a chance to be part of history. Islam also spoke openly about his current mindset outside the cage. He said he is financially secure, making enough money to take care of his family, and living a life he once could not even imagine. With those goals achieved, his focus has shifted more toward legacy than pressure. During the interview, Islam was asked to compare winning the lightweight title versus the welterweight belt. He explained that submitting Charles Oliveira in 2022 to win the lightweight championship remains the most emotional moment of his career. He said that night was everything. Years of sacrifice condensed into a single tap. The feeling, the relief, and the emotion were unlike anything he had ever experienced. Even becoming a double champion later did not match that moment, which he believes he will never feel again. Moving on to another news. Charles Oliveira's coach has revisited one of the strangest moments in his career, an injury that still raises questions to this day. For years, the MMA world had largely moved on from the bizarre incident that ended the first fight between Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway back in 2015. However, with the two now set to face each other again at UFC 326, attention has once again turned to what really happened that night. The original bout was stopped less than 2 minutes into the first round after Oliveira suffered what appeared to be a serious neck issue. Officially, his record lists the injury as an esophagus tear, but no clear medical explanation was ever made public. That lack of clarity created confusion at the time, and according to Oliveira's longtime coach and close friend Diego Lima, the mystery has never truly been solved. Speaking recently, Lima explained that even today, nobody on their side fully understands what went wrong. He described the situation as extremely strange and frightening, saying the doctors themselves were unable to identify the exact cause of Oliveira's condition. Because of that uncertainty, the hospital would not allow him to leave or return to Brazil. Oliveira was experiencing partial paralysis, and it was clear something very serious had occurred, yet there was no diagnosis to treat. Lima emphasized how scary the situation was, precisely because they did not know what they were dealing with. If there had been a clear injury, they could have addressed it directly. Instead, Oliveira remained hospitalized while doctors monitored him, unsure of how to proceed. According to Lima, the hospital refused to release him because his condition was not improving, which only added to the fear surrounding the incident. He also spoke about faith playing a role in Oliveira's recovery, saying it felt like divine intervention once again in his life. Lima reflected on how Oliveira has dealt with health problems since birth, yet continues to overcome them. This was just another chapter in that story, one that could have ended his career before it truly began, but instead became a turning point. At the time, the injury fueled a growing narrative that Oliveira was mentally weak, a label that followed him for years. Very few fans in 2015 could have imagined that he would eventually become one of the most dangerous finishers in the sport. Since then, Oliveira has rewritten the UFC record books, silenced doubters, and transformed his legacy entirely. What was once seen as a career-defining weakness is now remembered as just another obstacle he overcame on the way to greatness. Moving on to another news. During his recent podcast appearance, Strickland did not hold back as he revealed tense and revealing details about a backstage encounter with Jon Jones and his brothers at a recent UFC event. Strickland explained that he crossed paths with the trio behind the scenes, where Jon was standing alongside his brothers, who were glaring at him and clearly trying to provoke a reaction. He said the tension was immediate, describing the moment as uncomfortable and hostile, like they were hoping something would kick off. Fortunately, the situation never escalated beyond stares and bad energy, but the encounter stuck with him. Strickland said the experience only added fuel to his long-running animosity toward Jones. He then shifted into open criticism, taking aim at Jones as a person, not just a fighter. He accused him of presenting himself as a fake Christian, while hiding behind faith to cover up years of questionable behavior. According to Strickland, Jones promotes an image of redemption and wholesomeness, but his past actions tell a very different story. He pointed to arrests, DUIs, and domestic violence allegations as proof that the public persona does not match reality. Strickland argued that the disconnect is impossible to ignore, especially when Jones speaks about God while continuing to find himself in trouble. He said that if Jones simply owned who he really is, people might respect him more. Instead, he believes Jones uses religion as a shield while avoiding accountability for his actions. Despite the criticism, Strickland still acknowledged Jones as a once-in-a-generation athlete. He said that physically speaking, it would be impossible to design a better fighter for combat. However, he immediately followed that praise with biting sarcasm, mocking Jones for his repeated scandals and reckless decisions. He joked that Jones is only nice to meet when you are not crossing paths with him in a Vegas hotel. Strickland recalled seeing Jones with family members who stared him down, leaving him confused about why there was so much hostility. He insisted he had done nothing wrong and questioned why Jones seemed so defensive. For him, the hypocrisy was the most frustrating part. He ended his rant by saying, Jones should stop pretending to be something he is not, embrace the villain role, and accept responsibility for his past. In Strickland's eyes, Jones remains one of the best fighters alive, but far from a good man. And that contrast is what continues to drive his anger. The moment backstage only confirmed everything he already believed, leaving no room for respect or sympathy moving forward. Just resentment, blunt honesty, and a refusal to stay silent about it. This feud continues to simmer loudly, publicly, unapologetically, ongoing. Moving on to another news. Robert Whittaker has finally confirmed that his long-rumored move to light heavyweight is getting very close. Speaking recently, he revealed that he is about 90% sure he will leave the middleweight division behind for good in 2026. The former champion explained that the decision has been building for a long time, mainly due to the physical toll of cutting down to 185 pounds again and again. Whittaker admitted that his last couple of weight cuts were especially brutal, far worse than earlier in his career, At 35 years old and currently out of camp, he said he is walking around at roughly 235 pounds, which highlights just how extreme the cut has become. For years, he has forced his body down to the middleweight limit, but that process is no longer sustainable if he wants to perform at his best. He is now targeting a return around June, with plans to commit to a full 3 to 4 month training camp. That extended camp would allow him to sharpen new skills, adjust his frame for the higher weight class, and potentially surprise opponents who are used to seeing him drained at weigh-ins. He also confirmed that conversations are already happening, with meetings scheduled in Vegas this week to finalize the details of his next move. The light heavyweight division currently feels wide open, which only adds to the appeal. With uncertainty around the title picture and potential movement at the top, opportunities could appear quickly. Alex Pereira has teased the idea of moving up to heavyweight, possibly against Cyril Gane, especially if Tom Aspinall's eye recovery drags on. If that happens, the belt could be vacated, creating fast-tracked opportunities for contenders. Names like Magomed Ankalaev, Jiri Prochazka, Jan Blachowicz, and Khalil Rountree are all in the mix. But Whittaker believes his well-rounded skill set can match up well with many of them. He pushed back against the idea that he is a small middleweight, explaining that he is simply built differently, with a shorter frame and stocky build, not lacking size or strength. He pointed out that many fighters at middleweight are already taller than him, so the physical difference at 205 will not be as dramatic as people think. For now, Whittaker is keeping expectations measured. He wants to have the right conversations, make the right plans, and lock everything in properly. Once those talks are done, the next chapter of his career will officially begin. Moving on to another news, Joaquin Buckley has been making noise again as he continues to talk openly about who he wants to face next inside the octagon. This time, the welterweight contender added a new name to his growing list of potential opponents and also made it clear that he wants a spot on the highly anticipated White House card. That ambition alone has already put him in line with several other fighters pushing for the same opportunity. Buckley has not competed since December, when Kamaru Usman snapped his 6-fight winning streak with a grinding decision victory. In that matchup, Usman relied heavily on his wrestling, taking Buckley down 4 times and controlling large portions of the fight. Since then, Buckley has reflected on that loss and made it known that he wants to challenge himself in a very specific way moving forward. According to Buckley, his next fight needs to be against a wrestling-centric opponent. He wants to prove that he can compete with and defeat elite grapplers at the highest level. Rather than avoiding that style, Buckley sees it as an opportunity to grow and silence critics who question his ability on the ground. He also added another layer to his motivation, saying he would prefer to face someone from Russia or Eastern Europe to showcase American wrestling prowess on a big stage. While speaking on his podcast, Buckley explained that the opponent does not necessarily need to be a massive star. He said it does not have to be someone like Islam or Shavkat. Instead, it just needs to be a fighter from that region who represents that grappling heavy style. For him, the goal is to show fans that he can hang with that level of competition. When pressed to name a specific opponent, Buckley brought up the fighter who defeated Neil Magny. After some back and forth, the name Yaroslav Amosov came up. Once it clicked, Buckley immediately showed excitement about the idea. He said that matchup would be fun, especially if it took place on the White House card, picturing the two of them squaring off on such a massive platform. Although Amosov is from Ukraine, his fighting style closely mirrors many athletes from that region, particularly when it comes to wrestling and grappling control. That makes him an ideal stylistic test for Buckley. With Buckley openly campaigning for the fight and tying it to the White House event, the idea has started to gain attention. Whether the UFC pulls the trigger or not, Buckley has made one thing clear. He is ready to step back in against a dangerous grappler and make a statement. Moving on to another news. The UFC has seen several former pro football players cross over into combat sports over the years, and now NBA star Jaylen Brown has hinted at doing the same. Speaking during the All-Star festivities this weekend, Brown revealed that stepping into the cage or the ring is something he has seriously considered. He explained that it is not an immediate plan, but rather an idea he has toyed with for the period after his basketball career slows down. Brown said he has spoken with multiple people about the possibility, including Dana White, and confirmed that real conversations have already taken place. He mentioned being open to both UFC competition and boxing, depending on how things line up in the future. According to Brown, fighting is not foreign to his family, as his father was a WBU boxing champion, and his grandfather also competed in the sport for future opportunities. Moving on to another news, Nate Diaz has just revealed his comeback plans, and the potential matchups are absolutely massive. After time away from the spotlight, Diaz made it clear that he is ready to return to real action, as long as the price is right. According to him, the motivation is there, the fire is still burning, and the stage only needs to be big enough to match his name and legacy. At the top of his list is a trilogy fight with Conor, a rivalry that helped define an era and still captures the attention of fight fans around the world. Diaz also mentioned Dustin Poirier as another opponent he would seriously consider, calling it a fight that makes sense both competitively and financially. On top of that, he even floated the idea of clashing with Mike Perry, a matchup that would bring chaos, raw emotion, and non-stop pressure from the opening bell. Diaz emphasized that he is not chasing just any fight. He wants something meaningful, something that brings excitement and energy back into his career. As one of the biggest American stars in MMA history, his return would immediately add star power to any card he appears on. That is why the idea of Diaz fighting on the White House card has gained serious traction, especially with major names like Justin Gaethje and Ilia already being linked to the event. When asked directly about the possibility, Diaz did not hesitate. He said fighting on the White House card would be dope, especially if it involved Conor. He leaned into the moment, embracing the spectacle, the legacy, and the American energy behind it all. However, his relationship with the UFC has never been smooth, and that uncertainty still hangs in the air. For now, Diaz remains focused on the future, confident in his value, and ready to step back into the spotlight when the moment feels right.